Hold on to your hats, folks, because we're diving headfirst into the latest episode of As the Tariff Turns. Our protagonist, Donald J. Trump, decided to grace us with another round of his economic wisdom. He slapped tariffs on our closest allies, Canada and Mexico, citing national security concerns. Yes, you heard that right, national security. Apparently those Canadian maple syrup reserves pose a bigger threat than we thought. The announcement sent shockwaves through the global market. Economists gasped, world leaders face-palmed, even the ghost of Ronald Reagan probably spun in his grave. This wasn't just a policy shift, it was a full-blown trade war declaration on our neighbors, our friends, our biggest trading partners. But wait, just when the world braced for economic Armageddon, Trump pulled a classic Trump. He hit the brakes on the tariffs, claiming a breakthrough in negotiations. The man who once said trade wars are good and easy to win suddenly discovered the fine art of the U-turn. The question is, why the sudden change of heart? Was it the plummeting stock market, the furious backlash from both sides of the aisle? Or maybe, just maybe, someone finally managed to explain to him how tariffs actually work? The market, my friends, is a fickle beast. And when it comes to Trump's trade policies, that beast tends to get a bad case of the jitters. The initial tariff announcement sent investors running for the hills. Stocks tumbled faster than a toupee in a hurricane. Why the panic? Well, imagine you're a business owner who relies on Canadian steel. You've already factored in the cost of materials, labor, and shipping. Suddenly, bam! The price of steel skyrockets because of some hastily imposed tariffs. Your carefully calculated profit margins vanish faster than common sense at a Trump rally. The 24-hour tariff pause did little to calm the storm, sure. The market rebounded slightly, but the damage was done. Investors were left reeling, wondering what other economic grenades Trump might lob next. The message was clear. When it comes to trade, the Trump administration is about as predictable as a raccoon in a dumpster. North of the border, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau wasn't about to take this lying down. In a direct address to the American people, Trudeau didn't mince words. He called out the absurdity of labeling Canada a national security threat. He highlighted the interconnectedness of the North American economy, emphasizing that tariffs hurt American and Canadian workers alike. The idea that we are somehow a national security threat to the United States is, quite frankly, insulting and unacceptable, Trudeau declared, his words echoing the sentiments of many. He reminded everyone that Canada had fought alongside the United States in countless conflicts, from World War II to Afghanistan. Trudeau's message was a much-needed dose of sanity in an increasingly chaotic trade landscape. He reminded us that cooperation, not confrontation, is the key to economic prosperity. He also implicitly called out Trump's bullying tactics, demonstrating that even the nicest guy in the room has his limits. Now, let's talk about fentanyl. Trump tried to justify his tariffs in part by claiming they would stem the flow of fentanyl across the Canadian border. It's a clever tactic, really. Appeal to people's fears about the opioid crisis while simultaneously pushing your protectionist agenda. Two birds, one baseless claim. The problem is, the facts simply don't support Trump's assertions. According to data from the DEA, less than 1% of fentanyl seizures occur at the Canadian border. We're talking about a minuscule amount, a drop in the bucket compared to the fentanyl pouring in from other sources. This fentanyl argument is a classic Trumpian maneuver: deflect, distract, and deceive. It's a cynical attempt to exploit a genuine crisis to score political points. By peddling falsehoods and fear-mongering, Trump undermines the real efforts needed to combat the opioid epidemic. And that, my friends, is a tragedy far greater than any trade war.